All right, welcome to the 2024 Fargo Davies Boys Basketball Season Preview. I am your host and the voice of Davies Basketball, Grant Hubbard. We are joined by the man who has 283 wins in 15 seasons as head coach, the best-dressed coach in the EDC, Bart Manson. Coach, nice to see you.
Good to see you, too.
And the man who needs no introduction, but we'll give him one anyway, the Eagles' all-time leading scorer, Illinois State commit, and senior guard. It's MK3, Mason Klabo. Mason, how we doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
All right, pretty good. So, Coach, I want to start with you. So, the high point of last season, the EDC Tournament Championship game against Jeremiah Sem and that Spartans team we saw, and Mason scored 53. As a coach, describe that game and how crazy it was.
Well, I'll just talk about the atmosphere. First of all, the atmosphere, every, I think, 4 or 5 years for that EDC tournament, because of a rotation that the Shack has, that we have to move it into a high school. And it was a really fun atmosphere, packed gym. And obviously, with playing Fargo North, who was kind of our rival here for the last couple of years, was a special game for us. And, watching Mason play in that game and score 53 points, I've been, coaching for a long time, and I've never had a kid score 53 points. Like Tanner, I think maybe 47. Mason's already had 47. I mean, 53 points in an individual game. I told him we might need 60 that night from him, but 53 got it done, and we're glad to have him back and see if he can't break that even this year.
Right. Mason, tell me how did that game feel for you as a player perspective?
It was good. I mean, like you said, it was a packed crowd, and that's always something I've always wanted to play in, is a sold-out crowd in high school. So just walking out of the locker rooms for warm-ups there and seeing a sold-out crowd, we had to bring it. And obviously playing against North for the past 3 years now has been our biggest rival. So it was a really fun game, and I took a lot of shots, and a lot of shots went in, so it was good.
Because I remember about that West Fargo gym, it's kind of like it's a bandbox. It's really small. It's really packed in because the fans were really on top of you in there, it felt like.
It is, and it was hot in there,
yes.
And so it was a good atmosphere. And I one of the things anytime you're going to score 53 points, and I'd say you should go and look at this, but you got to make a lot of free throws. And Mason that night made a lot of free throws, and because he got to the free throw line that night, and so that's the only way that you can get there, is you got to make some free throws in there too.
Now the season ended with a third place finish in the state tournament for the third consecutive year. So I know you don't like cornering the market on the third place finish. So what do you have to do as a staff to get over that hurdle and get back to the state title game?
I think that for us, we talk a lot as a staff, is that we're getting to that game, and so now how do we get over that hump in that game? And so for us, it's just paying a little bit more detail. We've been trying to get the little things cleaned up this year and try and talk a little bit more about, how crucial maybe rebounding is. Something that you take for granted sometimes. And, like last year in the semifinals, it was rebounding. The year before against Red River, it was turnovers.
Right.
And so these are the little things that kind of hurt us.
Yep.
And so we're trying to nip those in, right now to be able to, hopefully they won't show up in March. And so, that's one of our points of emphasis this year.
Mason, what has to happen inside that locker room and on the floor to change your state tournament fortunes?
I think for the past 4 years now, what I've noticed is the teams that win in late March, is the teams that play together, and the teams that play to their strengths. And I think just, with this new team now, with, pretty much me being the only guy coming back from last year, is we need to get on the court, we need to play, and then we need to start playing off each other and playing with each other. And, if we do that in March, I think we have a pretty successful chance of, getting deep.
All right, so let's dive into the season a little bit. So you lost a countless number of guys from last year. Just count them. Alpha Kamara, Jackson Beiswinger, Daniel York, Nick Hasberg, and Peter Havelka. That's 5 guys all gone.
Caleb Scary.
And Caleb Scary, yes. So there's some serious minutes lost. So, Coach, who has to step up on this year's team?
Well, our JV has been kind of our replenishing aspect of our program, and our JV had a really good season. And so, guys who like Cam Miller, who played a little bit for us last year, Colton Rinke, Colin Williams, we have Holden Whitty, played some. Xavier Ames, we're going to look for big things. We have Aiden Mastel and Charlie Metzger and Max Glasheen. Am I missing anyone here? I'm trying to get through the list. Colin Williams, yes. I said him, And so all these guys who played JV for us last year got reps in there. But what they
Kate Olhauser.
Yes.
Kate Olhauser, very good.
There you go. Yes.
He's our shooter on that team.
Yep.
And the thing that they are there that they need to do this year now is need to mesh with Mason.
Yep.
They have the talent and they have the skills to be a varsity basketball player.
Yep.
But now it's just kind of taking our piece that we've had for 4 years and plugging and playing with those guys. And so, I'm expecting to have some road bumps here in December, and that's okay. We have 2 non-conference games before we even start conference action, and our December schedule is really tough, and so we're going to be tested. But that's okay, and I think it's going to be really good for this team to move through December and see how these guys are going to kind of start to mesh with Mason.
Yeah, Olhauser stuck out to me a lot just watching practice today. Olhauser really stuck out. He's not afraid to fire. Colin Williams was really good. I liked him as well. Ranky was really good, really good.
Well, Cade made 58 threes last year on the JV, and so we know he can shoot it, but he's got to get the confidence to be able to shoot it in the varsity games, and so.
So Mason, as you're the senior leader on this team, who do you think should step up and be your co-star? I think Holden Whitty's a candidate from what I saw today.
We got a lot of players that can play. We have deep bench this year, and we got a lot of size too. So, like we said, Cade can shoot it. Like, that's a big part. Cade can shoot it. Ranky can shoot it. Whitty has gotten a lot better with his mid-ranges, and Colin can score any type of basket with his left hand on the left-hand side. So it's just, we have a lot of players that can play ball, and it's exciting to see now in December who's gonna succeed in December.
Coach, who's that team that keeps you up at night in the EDC this year? Who's that one team?
Well, like early on, just not having to see, I think you take a look at the West Fargo schools are all pretty good. Fargo South, is going to be, you don't know how they're going to be until you start watching them play. And all those teams have really good athletes, and they have good cultures of basketball programs. And, you can't count North out. They still have another Sem and Dubard, who was all conference back last year. And then you go to the 2 Grand Forks schools, and they still got kids back too. And so I expect our league to be pretty, balanced. I think the team that probably lost the most last year, and it will be a younger team this year, will be Shanley, trying to find some way, But I expect us to be, up towards the top and competing for another EDC championship this year. I'd be disappointed if we are not there, But it's going to be up to the guys, and what kind of season that they want to have, and what kind of team that they want to be, because that's what you're starting to build right now.
Right, because as of conference, there's no more Tommy Ottoman. He's gone. There's no more Jeremiah Sem. He's gone. But still, Klabo's still around. There's a lot of other really talented players in the EDC this year. Is there a matchup you're looking forward to most, Mason? Is there a team, a player that you really want to see this year?
I'm excited for Saturday to go down and play Minneapolis, just because, I got a bunch of friends from AAU in Minneapolis area. So for our non-conference, I'm super excited about that. But I can't say no. I don't have I'm not any excited. I'm ready to play everyone. So it's going to be a fun year, competitive year.
Either person, is there a secret weapon or an underrated player in this team that people should know more about?
For me, I just think that people, are going to take a look and they're going to see, Colton Ranky, Colin Williams, some of these guys who were playing a lot on the JV and who are, kind of scorers. Cade, Xavier, Whitty, all these guys that we mentioned earlier tonight. I think it's going to be a lot of Mason and then guys by committee. And so one night it might be Colin, one night it might be Colton, and we're going to hope that some of those guys continue with consistency and build that. But that's how I think that's going to be. It's not going to be like last year where we were expecting high volumes of baskets from Mason and Jackson. Right. I think you could have, Mason being, leading the league in scoring, and then you could have 4 or 5 guys averaging 12 points, and that's going to be crucial for us.
Right. What makes Mason one of the best players you've ever had at Davies?
Well, I mean, I'll just even say for the state, okay? I look at the state, and I look at, since I've been around, there's been 2 guys who I've watched play, and I didn't get to coach one of them, but he had a really a hell of a heck of a career at Valley City, and that was Jeff Boschee.
Yep.
The thing that I would put Jeff Boschee and Mason Klabo in the same category as is that it's not so much because there's a lot of talented kids who have gone on and played Division I from North Dakota.
Right.
But it's those 2 guys who are they're so smart basketball wise that they're like a coach on the floor that's going to lead them into college with having the knowledge and because they have the skill, but it's the knowledge of the game that a lot of kids lack but have the talent, and some of them grow into that. And but these 2 guys, Jeff and Mason, I think are 2 guys that I kind of look at that just understand the game better than a lot of high school kids understand the game.
Mason, what do you think the best moment of your career is so far, or is that yet to come?
I mean, I hope it's yet to come.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
But I just think for me, it's not even basketball that, Davies has given me. It's given me a bunch of friends to play with, and, that's the thing I always look forward to, and I was kind of sad this year is, bunch of people I played with over the years are gone, you know,
Yeah.
in college. So, and then I got a fresh new group that I'm being friends with right now too. So I think like there's nothing like on the court. Obviously, like scoring points, you know, having 1,000 points, stuff like that's been really cool. But just these people I've been around with for the past 4 to 5 years now, it's been really fun.
A couple of fun ones to close here. Why do you still wear suits on the sidelines?
You know, for us, it's kind of about who we are. That's just what we do, and that's who we've been. And I know there's been a lot of shift since COVID to doing some other things. And, you know, I still think it's a job or it's a profession, and so I treat it like that. And I still see a little bit of a comeback now, where you start to see more coaches now starting to move back to dressing up on the sideline.
Yeah, because see a lot of pullovers and zip-ups, not on the Davies sideline.
Not on the Davies sideline.
Right. So apparently, Coach Hook told me this. Music at practice, that's a new one, and the Spotify rap stuff just came out today. Do you have a favorite song pregame? That's in your Spotify rap? It's like, oh, yeah, that's the one I got.
What you wanted to play yesterday?
I Won't Back Down by Tom Petty. That was a song yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, what's the song I always go to? That's up there for sure.
Because we sat next to each other in the locker room for a year at Davies.
Yeah.
We
Right.
sat next to each other. I don't know what you listen to, but.
I'm trying to think. Come on, give me 1 second. Yeah.
Kidding.
Yeah, cut it, whatever.
Do you have one? Is this a song that you listen to, or do you just
You know,
ready to
to
go?
be honest with you, I come up here a lot with Mason, and Mason plays his playlist a lot, and I like a lot of it. He's a country boy. He's a country guy at heart, and so, but I don't think he listens to a lot of country on game day. I think it's more rap and things like that. And but I'm okay with Tom Petty.
Okay.
I really am.
Kickstart My Heart.
Okay.
That's the one.
Let's say no shaboozing, no posts, none of that?
I don't listen, no.
Do you have a Manson story that you can say right now on audio? Can you say? Is there a story that sticks out? Because I think I asked Frosley, he'd have an answer.
Yeah. I mean, there's some good ones that aren't PG.
Exactly,
but
that's what I'm saying. Is there one that is?
I just think, you know, I'll tell the story.
Okay.
All right. So this is the one that comes to mind. Was it last year? We lost to Cheyenne here.
Mm-hmm.
We lost to Cheyenne here. We're all ticked off. We're sitting in the locker room. You know, all our heads are down. I don't think I played that game. Me and Weiswinger.
No, yeah.
So we're all, you know, me and Weiswinger sitting next to each other in the locker last year. We're all ticked off that we can't even play. We couldn't even help our team, and they lost, and it was a tough loss. And you know, Manson comes in to give his post-game talk, and he's talking, and the vents, you can hear the other locker room.
Oh, God,
okay?
yeah.
So you can hear like their pregame music before. Well, they're treating it like, well, I guess they won state, but they treat it like they won a state
Exactly.
championship.
Right.
And so Manson stops his talk and he just goes silent and he just goes, listen, you know, and that, like, it gives me goosebumps right now, talking about it. But like, I mean, that's what I thought about going into Cheyenne when we went and beat them at their place too, and a really nice crowd. So yeah, that's just who he is. You know, he's a motivator, and it's fun playing for him.
Who do you model your coaching style after? Now, before you say your dad, Gene, is there another coach who gave you some tips that you still use today?
Well, I mean, there was a couple guys who influenced me when I was playing that, you know, I still think about them a lot. But, you know, I'm kind of a person who is takes little bits of things from everybody, and so I might grab something from this coach or this coach or this coach or this coach to try to put together who, you know, I am. And so, you know, obviously early in my career as my dad, you know, and as you go on, you start to grow from that. And, you know, and he hasn't been a part of our program now since maybe 19, I think it was his last year, right? Jaden's senior year, right? So I think that was right. So, but, you know, there's been a lot of people who have influenced me, you know, Mason having a lot of guys come in this fall, it was kind of fun too for me because I got a chance to talk to some guys, and the guy that he's going to play for down in Illinois State's a really special guy too that I've had some good stuff with too. So,
all right, Mason, who do you model your game after, and what do you think is the best part of your game?
Kind of like what he said too. I pick a lot of things too, and you know, my biggest thing, I've always been a really good routine guy and doing the same thing during the season, and so that's kind of like my biggest thing now is like I knew a guy who's in the Under Armour circuit, you know, who's really deep in the Under Armour circuit. So he was at a Steph Curry conference, and he just talked about how Steph Curry has all these things that he does. Like he has a breathing coach and a flexibility coach and stuff like that. So I guess, you know, that's kind of just like taking those little things, not even skill-wise, but off the court, how they, you know, get ready for games and stay ready. And you said the best part of my game?
Yeah, what's the best part of your game?
it's the best and worst, but I think it's just my competitiveness.
Okay.
You know, I think that, you know,
'Cause I saw the Magic Johnson pass you tried
yeah,
in practice. So.
You know, my passing I think is up there too, but just, you know, how competitive I am and how I want to win so bad, you know, kind of puts me
Yeah,
over the
I've
edge.
seen his game change quite a bit over. You know, when he first started, it was like, who's always the guy I always say, like John Morant or the other guy who just triple double guy who scores a tons of triple double.
Russell Westbrook?
Yeah, Russell,
Westbrook,
like
yeah.
100 miles an hour to the hole, and then you know over the course of the time, I think that he's learned how to play a lot of different ways. So.
Anything else either of you want to add?
No, I'm just looking forward to, you know, this is Mason and I 5th year together, and so probably never have one of those again. So
Yep.
I just told Mason before the season, I'm going to enjoy the heck out of this one. It's the last year for us, and you know, he's going to go on to bigger and better things, and I'm going to be stuck here and coaching the guys that are coming up, and so this is it for us, and so it'll be a special year.
It's the last one for me. So
Yeah,
I'm
the
just
last one for you
last
too. We're
one
glad
for
to
me.
have you back.
I'm great to be back. I appreciate it. So that's all we got for the 2024 Davies basketball season preview. Thank you to Bart Manson and Mason Klabo for joining us. Don't forget the home opener can be seen on the Davies Live Network, as Mark Hubbard and I will have the call as Davies takes on the Red River Rough Riders. Thank you for listening.